Hey, Lawrence here, welcome to Business Beats. Today we're talking about the business plan and strategy, right? So if you've got a great idea and you're looking to launch it and get started, this is probably a good app for you. So we're gonna run through all the mistakes that I made, right? And all of my learnings across, the last 15 years in business, really 20 years in business. And some of the things that worked really well and all of my failures, right? I'll try and recontextualize that as well. So there's a lot of learnings in it. So if you're looking to start a business plan is critical. And let's delve into that and run through what I think is about 10 principles that you should follow. Before we dive in, make sure you download our free ebook. It's all about how to build a business plan all down on paper for you. Okay, I hope you enjoy that. Thanks for watching and hope you get something out of the episode. So the first thing is, I always think about the why, right? I think you have to get that right first. I think if you're going to go into business, make sure that you've got the why right. Now, I normally call that an MTP. So is it a product, is it a service, and why are you doing it? Are you doing it for the money? If you are, that's fine. Be honest about it. But are you doing it because you're passionate about it and you want to make a difference? Because that needs to form part of the start of the business, right? Are you doing it with a business partner, a friend, a family member? Are you raising money? Are you using someone else's money? So that should all influence the plan. Now, my mistake when I started in business is that I learned as I started walking into my business, when really I wish I had gained a little bit of knowledge before I did that, right? So, and what I didn't think about was the why. And I think if I thought about the why, it would have made things a lot easier for me. Now we're formulating an MTP and we do that for each company, right? So that's our massive transformative purpose. Like, why are we doing this? It creates transparency, it gives you an ethos, a soul and a heart to operate against. And my favorite thing, it tells you what to say no to, so you can get laser focused on what the journey is of the business and why you're in the market in the first place, right? So I made that mistake. I wish I had learnt this, 20 years ago, but I think it's critical to get that right. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I would plan a short, close strategy as opposed to a long one. My first business plan was 5 years because that's what people told me to do. Well, that was ridiculous because it took me 3 months to even think 5 years ahead, right? And I don't know whether you can do that. It's such a changing market right now. If you look at the inclusion of AI into the market, new technologies, Web 3.0, there's so many things that are happening, right? What's going on around the world socially. You plan 5 years, you'll have to change it in 6. So it's a waste of time. So my advice would be consider 5 years, but plan 12 months. So plan 1 year and be ready to pivot when the market dictates that you should, right? Number 3, having a minimum viable product offering, or what I like to call, which Collison from Stripe likes to call an MRP, a minimum remarkable product, which I think is a much better term. So an MRP is, okay, what is the point where you can deliver a product to the market? So if it's an e-com product or it's a physical product that you have to post to someone, or if it's a service or it's bricks and mortar, right? You have to have a level of service that you are going to be happy with. Now, here's the thing, it doesn't need to be 100%. There isn't any company on the planet that waits to get something to perfection before they launch it, because they will never launch it. I have this thing about, my philosophy is build it to 75%. Launch that fucking thing as fast as you can when you get it to there. Because if you don't, you're just gonna start to get neurotic about it, right? And that neurosis will slow you down. You'll never launch it because you're seeking perfection, and perfection will cost you money. And if you've got investors on board, you can't do that to them because that's not cool, right? You've got to get it out there and get it monetized, service, product, or whatever it may be, okay? So get to minimum viable product, or what I like to say, minimum remarkable product, get it to 75%. We know it's not perfect, but get it in the market, monetize, and then start to rebuild and go to the next iteration of your product, okay? So number 4, product market fit, really, really critical. When I started in business, I didn't even know what product market fit was. I actually don't think it was a thing. I did a little bit of research and I sort of unpacked and found out what it means to me and my companies. And product market fit means, is your product viable enough to go to the market? Is it tenable for the market to pick it up and actually spend money on it and pay for it long term, right? Because if the product is so shitty and you put it into the market and it's that bad, you can sell one of them but never sell 2, or you can get a 1-month subscription and not a 12-month subscription. It'll never work out because you'll constantly be advertising for new clients. You have to get to the point where product market fit, imagine if you could get a product and they love it so much, they tell their friends about it and they're on the platform for 5 years. Those subscription products where you purchase something and it ticks away in the background, you use it every day and you don't mind paying for it. It's like Netflix, right? Amazon Prime, those types of services, Spotify. These are services that deliver a fantastic product, a remarkable product, and have good product market fit. So they're engineering their product specifically for their customer, and it's epic, right? So don't release a shitty product to the market without considering product market fit and expect it to last long term. It just won't do that. So consider that product market fit, do your research. Okay, number 5, forecast sales. You have to forecast sales. Put it down on a spreadsheet. Seek advice from an accountant. I always say that. They'll be able to help you structure that out. So your forecast should go for 12 months and then add another 12 months on top of that for 24, right? So you want a business plan for 12, and I say forecast for 24, and then make adjustments every month, right? Depending on where the market's at, you might need to move a few things around. So forecasting sales mean how many sales or how many units will you sell in the first 30, 60, 90 days? And then you've got 90 days worth of data, and then what you'll be able to do is go back to the forecast, back to the business plan, and start to re-engineer things and move it around a little bit, because you've got some intel and some data that you can operate off. By the way, you've got to get your data sets right. You should be making data-driven decisions in business, not emotional ones. There is a small component of emotion, I get that. You need to understand the customer, but forecasting sales is pretty critical to get that right. So put it in a spreadsheet, please, and then speak to people about it and think deeply about it. Remove yourself from the business when you do this type of work, this deep work, and really structure it out, and don't make it bullshit. Don't put big numbers in there hoping that you're going to get it right because you think it's going to motivate you. Because when you get to the end of the quarter and you're 70% below what you forecasted, it's going to demotivate you. A lot of businesses do that and they make that mistake. Be realistic. In fact, you should get it to a point where it's realistic and pull it down by 10. What that means is that if you go above it by 3, 4, 5, 10%, 15%, you're going to get motivated and it's going to drive success, right? So that would be my advice. So number 6, now it's time to execute, right? So you've got to, and as I always say, good ideas are great, but execution matters. And for me, it's all about execution, man. Execution, execution, execution. Because without execution, everything that you've done up to that point, those 5 steps before, doesn't matter. So now you've got to get your product market fit, look at your forecast, your product, your service, or whatever you're doing, you've got to put it into the market. So you've got to get all your advertising done. You've really got to think deeply about what that looks like, and then you've got to put it in the market to monetize. So you've got to sell something, is what I'm saying. And here's another lesson that I learned in business, is that I took too long to sell stuff. Because I got caught up in myself, right? And I was nervous, and maybe it was a lack of confidence. Probably a lack of confidence, right? You're building this business and you're getting it to a point where you got to put it on the market, and what's going to happen is people are going to tell you what they think of it, and they might tell you that you suck. But you want to hear that. I think that's really important, because then you can unsuck, right? So you can figure out how to rebuild, recalibrate, and then resell back to the market. And candor is great, because if your customers have candor, that means they're good customers. This is how you can win raving fans, like Tim Ferriss says, right? He's all about raving fans, and I think that's pretty awesome. These are people who are with you and buy your product or your service for the rest of their lives, right? And tell everyone about it. So don't fear the unknown, and have the confidence and conviction to do it. Let's get better. So now you're live when you're selling products, right? So now you're going to have a P&L. It's going to have an operating expenditure on it, your costs, staffing, lease, hardware, computers, all that sort of stuff, right? You've got to drop it in your P&L, and your P&L starts to form itself. P&L, by the way, stands for profit and loss. So your P&L will start to figure things out as you move forward in business. I love a P&L, one of my favorite things, because what it does, it tells you the health of the company from a non-emotional perspective, right? So I can look at the numbers and see trends in the numbers, right? So it's a bit of an algorithm for how healthy your business is going and how successful it's becoming or not becoming. And the last thing, number 8, is evaluate, right? Reevaluate and evaluate, reevaluate and evaluate over and over and over again. So look at your P&L, your forecast, your product, what your customers are saying, and get a really good gauge for, how all that plays out, right? Because it's the feedback that grows a business, right? Otherwise, you'll just be naive and thinking that you know everything. And you're not listening to the market or your customer, right? And I think every business should do that, and do that really sincerely and really intimately. So evaluate your business. So you should evaluate every day, really. But do core, I think, formal evaluations maybe in that first quarter every month. Sit there, compile your data, and you and your business partner or whoever, or your accountant or whoever, sit there and evaluate, okay, so how did we go for the month? Like, what sales did we get? Did we have an incline? Did we have a decrease? Are we flattening off? Did our OPEX go up? Are we spending too much money? We need to pull that back this month coming. You know what I mean? And what were our customers saying? We had 5 Google reviews and 4 of them were terrible and 1 was actually average. So our product market fit might not be on point. So maybe we need to go back to the drawing board and fix a few things. Hey, maybe I'll reach out to those customers and ask them how they think we could improve the product. Imagine that, so you can survey people as well. And that evaluation process will give you ideas, right? To survey people, speak to your customers, speak to the accountant, and you really start to figure a few things out. And in that first 3 months, it's pretty hard. One of my biggest failures, and I mean, I've bombed lots of companies over the years, right, is I didn't really speak to the customer as much as what I should have, right? So you just start selling products and making money, which is cool, and you see money hitting the bank account, and then you get focused on that. And I think that's a failure. It certainly was for me. It was a big mistake for me, where that's unscalable to a point, right? And what I mean by that is if you're just focused on the money, it's hard to scale just the focus on the money, but it's easy to scale the focus on the customer who pays you that, right? Because if you get it right for the customer, and this is what I talk about, minimum viable product or minimum remarkable product, if you can nail that and just get that right, and that product market fit right, the customers will come, right? So I think that's really important. Okay, so let me just quickly recap. Number 1, what's your why or your MTP, your method of transformative purpose? Number 2, business planning for 12 months. Don't go for 5 years, go for 12 months, right? 12 to 24 months max. It's a changing market, so pull it in really, really close. Number 3, minimum viable product, or what I like to say, minimum remarkable product. You need to establish that for your business. Number 4, product market fit. So who are you selling your product to, and is the fit to the customer on point so they resonates with the customer and they purchase, right? Number 5, forecast your sales. 12 to 24 months would be my take on forecasting your sales, and make it as accurate as you can. Number 6, it's all about execution. Now what do you do to get your product or your business to the market so customers can see it, so you get out of obscurity, they can purchase your product, and then you can start to identify where to play from there. Number 7, get your P&L right. So build the P&L as you start to sell product and your business moves across that first quarter. Your P&L gets a little bit of energy, it gets OpEx in it, it's getting cost of sales in it, it's getting profitability in it, and let that guide you through the way. And number 8, evaluate. Every single 30 days formally evaluate, and every week or every day just evaluate your business in general. Write down ideas and concepts, survey your customers and all of that, right? So those are the things I've learned over the last 20 years in business, believe it or not. And half of those things I didn't do when I started my first company 20 years ago. This is why I failed a lot, right? But that failure leads to success. You only fail if you stop. So that's another lesson in business as well. So look, I hope you got something valuable out of that. I appreciate you joining and look forward to speaking to you next time. Look, I hope you found something that you liked or that you think may work for your business. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button. We try to push out as much content and good content as we can. Really appreciate you watching and look forward to speaking to you next time. Thanks.